Have you ever noticed that some women in their 80s still walk with confidence, travel, enjoy long walks, and seem to move effortlessly, while others begin struggling with stairs, aching joints, and simple daily activities before they even reach 60? At first glance, it might seem like it's just genetics, or simply bad luck. But research suggests something very different. Scientists have found that the biggest difference often isn't age itself. It's what happens to our muscles, balance, and daily movement over the years. And the surprising part is that many of these changes begin long before we ever notice the first signs of stiffness or weakness. In today's video, we'll explore what researchers have discovered about why some women remain active and independent well into their 80s, while others lose mobility decades earlier. More importantly, you'll learn simple habits that can help protect your strength, improve your mobility, and support your independence as you age. Because growing older is inevitable, but losing your freedom doesn't have to be. Most people assume that losing mobility is simply a normal part of getting older. It's something we hear all the time. Well, that's just what happens when you age. But researchers have found that this isn't entirely true. While aging naturally brings changes to the body, age alone isn't what determines whether you'll remain active and independent. In fact, many adults in their 70s and 80s continue walking confidently, climbing stairs, traveling, gardening, and enjoying everyday life. At the same time, others begin experiencing stiffness, weakness, and difficulty with simple movements much earlier. So if age isn't the whole story, what is? One of the biggest answers lies in something most people rarely think about until it's already becoming a problem. The truth is, most women don't lose their mobility overnight. It happens so gradually that it's easy to miss. At first, it's something small. You take the elevator instead of the stairs. You avoid longer walks because your legs feel tired. Getting up from the couch takes a little more effort than it used to. You may even tell yourself, "I'm just getting older." But these small changes are often signs that your body is becoming a little weaker each year. One of the biggest reasons is that, as we age, we naturally begin to lose muscle strength, especially in the legs and hips. And here's why that matters. Every step you take, every staircase you climb, every time you stand up from a chair, your muscles are working to keep you stable. When those muscles become weaker, your body starts compensating in ways you may not even notice. You walk more slowly. Your balance becomes less steady. You feel less confident moving around. Little by little, simple daily activities begin to feel more difficult. The good news is that this process isn't set in stone. Our bodies continue responding to movement and strength-building habits well into our 60s, 70s, and even beyond. That's why two women of the same age can have completely different levels of mobility. The difference often comes down to the small things they do consistently over time. So, what do women who stay active into their 70s and 80s tend to do differently? It's usually not because they spend hours at the gym. In fact, many of them don't. What sets them apart is something much simpler: they keep using their bodies every single day. They walk regularly, not as a race, but as a daily habit. They don't avoid stairs whenever they can safely use them. They get up from chairs without relying on their hands whenever possible. They carry groceries, work in the garden, play with their grandchildren, and stay involved in everyday life. These simple movements may not seem impressive, but together they send an important message to the body. Stay strong. Stay capable. Our muscles and balance systems respond to how we use them. When we stop challenging them, even in small ways, they gradually become weaker. But when we continue moving with purpose, they keep adapting, even later in life. That's one of the biggest differences between women who remain independent and those who begin struggling with everyday activities much earlier. One of the biggest changes that happens as we age isn't something we can see in the mirror. It happens deep inside our muscles. Beginning around our 30s, we naturally start losing small amounts of muscle mass every year. For many women, this process speeds up after menopause as hormonal changes make it harder to maintain muscle. The muscles in the legs, especially the quadriceps, glutes, and calves, are often affected the most. These muscles do much more than help us walk. They help us stand up from a chair. They stabilize our knees. They keep us balanced when we climb stairs. They catch us if we begin to lose our balance. As these muscles gradually become smaller and weaker, every movement requires more effort. Your body starts compensating. You take shorter steps. You walk more slowly. You avoid uneven ground. You rely on handrails more often. Over time, these small adjustments can lead to a loss of confidence, reduced activity, and even more muscle loss. It's a cycle that many women don't realize has already begun until everyday movements become difficult. The encouraging news is that our muscles continue responding to the way we use them even later in life. That means supporting and challenging them regularly can make a meaningful difference in maintaining strength, mobility, and independence. The good news is that your muscles are far more adaptable than many people realize. Even later in life, they continue responding to how you move, how often you challenge them, and how well you care for them. That's why small, consistent habits often make a bigger difference than occasional intense workouts. The first habit is simple: keep your leg muscles working every day. That doesn't mean spending hours at the gym. It means giving your muscles a reason to stay strong. Walking regularly, standing up from a chair without using your hands whenever it's safe, climbing stairs when you can, and staying physically active throughout the day all send an important message to your muscles. You are still needed. The second habit is adding gentle strength exercises a few times each week. As we get older, walking alone isn't always enough to maintain muscle strength. Simple movements like chair squats, heel raises, step-ups, or resistance band exercises help stimulate the muscles that support balance, stability, and confident walking. The third habit is making sure your muscles have what they need to recover. That includes getting enough protein, staying hydrated, sleeping well, and maintaining an overall healthy lifestyle. Muscles don't become stronger only while we exercise. They become stronger while they recover. And finally, perhaps the most important habit of all: keep moving. One of the fastest ways to lose strength is to stop using it. The body adapts to inactivity surprisingly quickly. But it also adapts to movement at almost any age. The difference between staying active at 80 and struggling at 60 often isn't about luck. More often, it's the result of small choices repeated over many years. The encouraging news is that it's never too late to start taking better care of your muscles, your balance, and your mobility. Every walk you take, every time you choose the stairs, every strength-building movement, you're investing in something far more valuable than fitness. You're investing in your independence. Remember, growing older doesn't automatically mean becoming weaker. Your body is always responding to how you use it. And while none of us can stop aging, we can influence how we age. If you enjoyed this video and want more simple, science-based tips to help you stay strong, mobile, and independent after 50, consider subscribing to Forever Independent. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.